Welcome to another episode of the Clay Formula Podcast. And I have a special guest today.
Thank you.
And we're going to be talking about hunting, obviously, because that's kind of how we became friends, sort of, is striking up hunting conversations. So
About 4 hours of
about 4 hours of
conversation the
hunting
first night and
conversations. Yeah.
ignoring everybody else at the bar.
Yeah. And this is Grant.
Hello, everybody.
And so starting with hunting talk, getting super revved up about wolf discussions, all of the things. But I don't know a lot about you. We just kind of shared quite a bit about our hunting stories and experiences. And gosh, what was you were chasing after bulls, hiking up at 2 a.m. or super late at night, getting to the spot, hiking up.
Yeah.
How was your last season?
Yeah, last season, no success, but it was probably the most fun season I've had.
Okay.
It was also the most consistent hunts I've had for bow season. We moved down to Rifle, Colorado, and I didn't think there were that many people. My friends who had hunted there before were a little more thrown by seeing other hunters out. But
Really?
Yeah, I've come to expect that. I've been hunting for 6 years in Colorado. No matter where you go, unless you're on private property, you're probably going to see someone now.
Yeah, I think I called in at least 4 hunters last year, and I got called in at least twice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my main hope is that they use a hoochie mama, because it's you just know what it is and you can hear the exact time. So it's like, oh, that's a hunter. That's a hunter. But yeah, there's some guys out there bugling, and they'll call you in pretty easy.
Yeah, they sound good.
Yep.
These days.
Especially, I thought it was funny. We saw a lot of black powder hunters, which just can ruin your entire bow hunt pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, that all that doesn't make any sense to me. Why you would have, granted, black powder, the technology these days, you can still shoot 200 yards.
Yeah. Well, in Colorado, at least you still have to use the iron sights. Yeah. In Wisconsin, can you use a scope?
I think so. I'm not sure. I haven't ever muzzleloader hunted. Only once. Take that back. Only once a long time ago. And it was iron sights, but I think you can use a scope.
Yeah, where were you?
I was in southwestern Wisconsin, kind of by, actually, New Glarus, where this beer came from.
There we go.
Thanks for the spotted cow, by the way.
Thanks, Mom and Dad, for road tripping.
Yeah. Grant's parents went to Wisconsin and brought back some spotted cow. Seems to be a common theme.
Right. It's pretty much the I'm not sure if I've heard of any other beers, but New Glarus, you can only buy it in Wisconsin. And I've heard rumors before that they'll go across the border to Minnesota liquor stores and they'll pull the New Glarus off the shelves and make a big stink of it.
Big
I have
stink
no
about
it. I think that's probably just rumors, but some hearsay.
Right? Yeah.
That'd be pretty funny, going guns blazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like a DEA bus for like some decent beer.
Right?
Yeah. It's okay. It's good beer.
Yeah, it's like something about transporting across the state line. Like you can't like export beer from one state to the other.
Something like that. I think it's
like what?
Yeah.
Who
I
even?
think it's a marketing gimmick too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. It's good, but it's not good enough to put a whole effort into stopping it at the entire Wisconsin border.
No.
Yeah.
So I was hunting over there with a buddy, and this was many years ago, and I almost had a shot at a really big buck, but I didn't like necessarily get the full chance.
How'd you end up using powder rather than just your typical rifle? Or
so the seasons are different there. It's like bow hunting, and then there's rifle season, and then like muzzleloader season, or one before or after. I'm not sure the season structure, but my buddy had a couple black powder rifles, and we weren't doing anything else.
Sweet.
So we just went out there and
I think it makes so much more sense that it's at the end of bow season.
Right.
Yeah.
To bring it back around.
Right. Exactly. Especially just because if you're out bow hunting, you're sneaking around as much as possible. If somebody's black powder hunts around you, like last year, we had a crazy run-in with this old guy from South Carolina. He put down a cow, which I'd passed on earlier in the day, and then he walked up on it, was still alive, and was doing his best to get it down with a knife, which obviously didn't work. So he reloaded and then shot again. It's like there's the rest of the herd. It's gone for the rest of the weekend after that. For bow hunting too, we're covering like 12 miles in every day to get to the spot, and then
12 miles. Holy shit!
Well, by backpacking about 2 miles to our camp, and then covering a good amount to just get further back where we're not going to see black powder hunters.
Yeah. So you'll hike into your camp a couple miles and then extend out another.
Yep.
How far do you
on a camping trail
try to go? What's your max from the truck or the camp for packing out?
Yeah. Well, so our friend who's been hunting the spot for about 18 years, he has some barrels with tents and some cots, some sleeping bags that he just leaves in the same spot, and he kind of knows everybody around there.
Sure.
So it's pretty much the same camping spot every day, and then there's about 3 different ravines that he's hunting.
Okay.
Based on where we're seeing them in the morning.
Sure.
It's pretty dense forest, though. So unless we're catching them in the morning or in the afternoon at night, you have no idea where they are.
Yeah.
And there's also private property lining the whole thing.
Okay.
So you know that they will just hang out on the private property, and we're trying to pull them out back into our side. And I think the ownership of that property had changed to where it's now just a guy and his buddies hunting it, but before they had some outfitters there.
Oh, okay.
The outfitters would do their best to try and keep the herd
away.
The private side,
Yeah. And a few chummy buddies that own it now are just gonna be hunting it and not thinking about that too much, I guess.
Oh, man.
Probably not too much.
Not, yeah. It's
they're not covering as much ground as an outfitter with a new client every weekend or every few days or something like that.
My guess is some oil executive out of Texas that wants some hunting ground in Colorado. Yeah. That's kind of what I've
they
heard.
might not even hunt it. Like go out for like one weekend.
Yeah, or have a couple too many glasses of whiskey the night before and then not make it out until the evening hunt.
They're not making it 6 miles back to
Exactly. That's what I've realized. A lot of people hunting when you're with your friends that you haven't seen all year, it's like it's half drinking, and they're not getting up to where you're getting up if you're out there to hunt.
Yeah, 100%.
There's social hunting, and then there's bow hunting.
Yeah. Okay, so a bunch of dark timber you're mostly hunting, or are you actually trying to hunt the edges of the meadows, or where are you getting your closest opportunities or finding them while you're actually hunting them?
Yeah. Well, there's this one pitch of dark timber on the private land, and then I think we called two bulls out, really amazing large bulls, called them into the public land, and then into some pretty open ravines. But where we know they're hanging out every day and where they're actually coming in through the public is some just 10-foot high bush at the very top of the mountain.
Okay.
If you can kind of push them out there, they'll go down mountain before they go back across to the private land.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So
you try to cut them off before they go back.
I'm not sure how much success you would have hunting it as just one person. Typically, I would go to the top and try and push out, or my friend would be halfway down calling for them, and I would sit at the top. But on your own, they're so smart; they know exactly where you are on the side of that mountain.
Yeah,
it's pretty amazing.
Interesting. Yeah. So are they using? So it's the top of the mountain. They're using just the ridge to jump the fence and go back over.
Yep, exactly.
Is it oak brush up there, or is it just one bush?
A lot of
bare bush or what?
Yeah, it's a lot of oak brush along the top.
Interesting.
The bottom is pretty washed out. Seems like there's a few different kind of waterways that go down to a creek that's there year round, which makes it a huge pain to get into that valley because you have to crisscross it a bunch of times.
Sure.
Important to have some waterproof boots.
Yeah, that's tough. when you're out pretty far, especially this last year. I got rained on for like 2 days while I was out, and everything was wet. Yeah, I had waterproof stuff, waterproof boots, completely soaked just from running down, your pants. If you don't have rain pants on that aren't like whoosh, 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 and like your like either duct tape around your pant to your boot or gaiters or something, you're just gonna be soaked. I mean, it's almost to the point where I would wear like some of my like Gore-Tex ski gear or something to stay dry for pants. I don't even know. You're just getting creative. Totally. But I started a fire and tried to dry out my stuff, and I sat and waited, and that evening I heard like 3 different bugles, which for some reason in my head I thought they were people, because it was like up towards the road and then down towards like a really main trail that outfitters would use. So I wasn't quite sure. But then in the morning, they started to move, and I wasn't really calling. I kind of did a few cow calls and stuff, but like then they started to like move towards me. There was one coming above and one coming below, and I didn't even have my boots on. Like I was just, everything was still soaked. So I got like kind of ready and did some calls and stuff, but as soon as one got below me and one got right above me, I never heard them again. So I don't know if the wind was going up and down. One of them for sure smelled me. And then, I thought they were hunters at that point. But later, to come to think, I'm like, those were probably bulls. But I don't know for sure.
What time of the season was it?
Oh, I was... I think this was like second weekend or so. So not a lot of bugling not going on. A little bit for sure. I definitely ran into elk like that hunt. But come to find out later with the whole getting wet situation, I think I got this tip from Remy Warren. He was saying wear all your clothes and everything in your sleeping bag, because your sleeping bag will pull all the moisture out. It'll still keep you warm, but it'll dry you as you just like sleep or something. So wear all your wet clothes to bed, and it'll insulate you. It'll still be warm, you'll be wet, but in the morning the sleeping bag will evaporate the water out and you'll be mostly dry, which is crazy. I never thought of that.
Sweat too much while I sleep. That, I'm gonna be just smelling like BO the rest of the trip if I.
Well, it was cold at night, middle of the season up in the mountains. I mean, it was getting down. I had a negative 20-degree bag, and it was getting down, sleeting and almost starting to snow by the end of the season, getting down in the 20s and upper teens. Sleeping in a bivy sack with a negative 20-degree bag, you're cold.
Yeah.
It's cold.
I did start sleeping with a ski mask on this year.
A ski mask? Nice.
Yeah, by the third weekend. This is mostly for my nose. I think I've broken it enough times where, stuff is just sitting on the side up there, and it gets so cold at night, and wake up in the morning.
Just burns?
Yeah, I'm just sniffling all morning, too, which is the worst part. Like, trying not to scare anything away. Just... Yeah. So, the ski mask kind of works.
Interesting.
Yeah, that or I'm trying to pull my sleeping bag up to my face, which is not big enough for.
Yeah, are you guys in a wall tent or what?
We do a wall tent during rifle season. The last few years, we've slept in a camper. So mostly we've been bow hunting up by Fort Collins, where you can get. We're close enough to home, and it's low enough where we just bring up a nice pop-up camper.
Nice.
Yeah, even if you're on out propane, it's still better.
Some over-the-counter unit over there.
Yeah, exactly. Actually.
Or is that a draw unit?
It's a draw unit, but it's pretty easy. It's, I think, like 70% success of draw. And then it'll be interesting to see this year because they're no longer giving out out-of-state tags up there, I believe. I really need to look more into that. I kind of only ever look where I'm going hunting for the year.
Yeah.
And not focus on any of the other units.
Yeah, what are they regulating out of state over the counter? So now everything out of state is draw? I don't know if they determined anything. I think they... Do you know what they determined?
I know that the draw limits were lowered, and then out of state over counter. I'm not sure if it was completely taken out this year or if it was. I think it was decreased initially by like 25%, then they decreased it again, maybe by an additional 25%. So yeah, 50% less out of state hunters.
Wow. That's wild.
Well, it must be draw because if it's over the counter, they're already out here. I should probably look into that because that's that's all based.
The Bears ears.
Bears ears herd.
I wonder if we can look up. Let's see here.
Oh, there's a bow right here too, huh?
That's my recurve. I don't know. All this stuff is out of date. Let's see. Colorado Parks and Wildlife, several laws apply to non-resident hunters. Permit limits. 2024, non-res hunters are limited to 25% of the total permit numbers per hunt code for deer, elk, antelope, and bear, unless the hunt has historically had residents draw on average 6 or more points over the previous 3 years. In those cases, non-residents are limited to 20% of the permits. Ooh, all right. Well, I don't know if whoever decided any of this knows how much money out of state people bring into our state, but
yeah,
they pretty much
my thought
don't.
Is that do it for 1 year, do it for 2 years. It's gonna make a huge difference in the long run. So that
in the herd,
so that they keep coming. I mean, out of state hunters, you're not gonna have a herd for them to hunt if we push them all out right now.
Right.
In between wolves and just decreased populations, warmer falls, there's a lot going against them.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, it's like the elk population is decreasing across the whole state, or is it sustainable, or is it growing in certain parts of the states? Like,
yeah, I'm curious.
The deer herd in Wisconsin is just constantly growing. You can't do anything about it, basically. Yeah. You could try and, they were giving out tags like
champagne problems.
Nobody's business. And you can't even put a dent in
that's
the deer herd.
Yeah, I'm not sure as far as the rest of Colorado goes. We ski up in Steamboat, so we were super happy with the amount of snow, but it was 168% of average snowfall.
Yeah.
Elk couldn't get off of the Yampa flat tops. They couldn't get to their food, and the amount of roadkill I saw that year was insane. Typically I'll see every drive maybe one deer, hardly ever elk. I've seen a moose, but this time I think I saw 8 to 10, maybe 15 dead elk every time we drove across, and a lot of pronghorns too.
Yeah, I heard pronghorns were decimated because they just stand on the edge of the road and lick the salt and try to find something. Then a semi comes by and wipes out like a pile of antelope, which is super sad.
Exactly. Nobody's slowing down while they're driving up to Steamboat on 40.
No.
3-hour drive from Denver. By that point, they're flying, trying to get there unless it's snowing.
For sure.
Our family friend just hit an elk in Silverthorne.
Really?
About 2 weeks ago. Yeah, which I was surprised by the time of the year. Totaled their car.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That'd be so scary.
Mm-hmm. That would be.
I think I've almost hit an elk. But I was like looking for them and driving slow, and they all ran out in front of me. Luckily, I was just driving slow, looking for elk at night. That's one thing I do do for hunting, especially during rifle, is just like go drive around at night, listen here. You know, you can kind of see with your lights along the side of the fields and stuff.
Yeah.
And if you see where they've been crossing the road or something like that, and you see them and they're going up, it's like, all right, well, that's the closest piece of public to up there.
Right.
Like, I know they're going up there.
Just like police headlamps on.
What are I don't know the laws about shining in Colorado.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do it for elk or not.
I don't think so. Probably not. Not sure if that came up in hunter safety. It probably came up in hunter safety. Yeah. Maybe like every 10 years I should go back through the manual and be like, what can I do and can't do?
Every 10 years, he says.
Maybe every 5 years.
It might be good to do like at least a gloss over every year.
I know the important parts. I know I can't drive down the road and shoot, my handgun out the window at a herd.
Yeah. It's pretty simple to figure out what you can and can't do. There's some weird people out there that just like thrive on shooting whatever off the side of the road and
driving
not caring.
Side by sides.
Yeah, side by sides and like chasing down like coyotes and like there's those videos of people like chasing down coyotes with snowmobiles and running them over. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, who are these people? And I don't know.
There's that guy that just did it in Wyoming, and then the wolf was allowed.
Oh, that wolf.
Yeah, he duct taped its mouth and brought it into a bar, and then posted a picture of it. So it's pretty easy for the Parks and Wildlife to find him.
Hopefully they did find him.
Oh yeah. I think that's prison time. Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the Ron White joke about hunting with his van?
No.
He always talks about, he's like, I have a brother-in-law who's always trying to get me to go hunting. He's like, I just don't get it. You're getting up at 4 a.m. and you got elk piss on your face. It's freezing cold out. You're sitting in the ground. And he's like, if you really want to get a deer, just strap some lights and a horn on your bullet, slow it down. It's about 30 miles an hour. And the deer will actually jump in front of your bullet.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
You might have a point.
Yeah.
Especially like you're saying, you're slowing down, driving around to find them and hitting them. Yeah, I've never hit one, knock on wood.
Right.
I did have a buddy in high school. We were driving in the foothills outside Fort Collins, and we were in the back of a truck driving down a pretty large hill. We were going pretty fast, and this deer was coming across the road. He leaned out the other side of the truck and smacked it on the butt while I was going across, which is amazing athleticism. Great hand-eye coordination.
That's wild.
And wildly dumb, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was out of the truck like 2 feet, yeah.
Jeepers. I have a story from college. I actually went to CMC in Steamboat when I was 19. Mm-hmm. And I met some buddies, some ski buddies, fly fishing buddies. And we went down to one of our friends' house. He was actually, I think he was in the X Games or like just about into the X Games for snowboarding. And we went to Aspen or Basalt, where he was from. And he told us a story where in Steamboat, he like chased a bear up a tree and slapped it in the ass as it was climbing up the tree. But this dude was like big. He's like 6'5", like just like burly too, and rides a snowboard. I went snowboarding with him, and he would like jump, like he would just like hit something. He would hit like a nothing and like jump like 40 feet down. And I'm just like, this dude's insane.
Right.
Of course, he smacked a bear in the ass going up a tree.
Yeah, I've heard about people chasing them in town and stuff. They're really relying on them being huge raccoons and not flipping a switch on them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, bears, like, you wouldn't want to get in a hand-to-hand combat with a bear. No, thank you.
I ran into a painter from Steamboat that I'd met up in Steamboat before, but I saw him at PS.
Okay. I'm going to flip this light on.
And he actually used to live by where we are up there. And he's pretty funny. He said he had both of his headphones in, and he was going to take the trash out, and he opened up a dumpster. He's not really paying attention. He feels some warm wind come across his face, looks up, and he's just face to face with a black bear.
Oh my god!
The dumpster. So he slams the lid shut, and he ran back to his place. He said it was chasing him.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Having it just like, as close as the microphone.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, we're careful about bears out in the mountains, elk hunting, carrying a sidearm.
Yep.
It's like, oh, I'm just going to the trash.
Right.
No sidearm.
Yeah. I
Slipper.
carry my sidearm more and more up there, which people have been attacked in Steamboat in the last few years, like in their garage and whatnot.
For sure.
And usually we're walking the dog by the Yampa River, so it's like, the dog is pretty quiet and smart about animals, but if she's not, it's just at one time, it's like you're kind of in the perfect situation. You're out at night. I try to remember a headlamp, and now I'm done, but
yeah.
If you're with like enough people making enough noise, who knows? But yeah, there's a lot of bears on 4th of July. Within 100 yards, I saw 2 black bears, 2 baby cubs with their mom, and then we saw 2 twin moose with a cow as well.
That's insane.
Yeah, and then this 4th of July, there was a like F-16 flyover at the same time. It felt like a movie.
You're like all these bears and three moose, and then an F-16 flies over.
Exactly. Yeah. There's
insane.
like a million people on the river. We're yelling at people coming along the trail after us, saying like, "Hey, like there's bears up there!" And like, hell yeah, getting all excited. It's like, gosh, like maybe I shouldn't have told them. We're gonna go looking for them now.
Right. Yeah. Of course. No, that's awesome. Steamboat is like a movie.
It is. Yeah.
I love that place.
Yeah, it's hard to leave. I still think I probably will end up there full time in the next couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
Yeah, right?
Be amazing.
I joined this Facebook group for finding housing up there. There's some pretty solid deals. Everyone talks about how expensive it is, but they're looking in town. Mm-hmm. And, if you go up, like, Strawberry Park, or if you go up any of the canyons on the other side from the resort, it's definitely cheaper rent than here. Like, I found a 3-bedroom for $3,000, 3-bed, 2-bath it's on like 6 acres. Yeah.
Would that be nice?
Right. Yeah. I mean, if something breaks down, you're not getting any assistance, so and you're not exactly paying for the service. You're paying for what you're getting when you show up.
Yeah. I mean, for someone, if you could work from home or whatever, that would be an amazing option.
Right. I wonder what population up there works from home now.
Probably quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, Crescent Butte, I hear all the time that it's like over half the town are people working online from home or from the coffee shops. And
yeah. The crowd up there has definitely changed.
Yeah. It's a little less grungy now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm basing that off of my friends who have lived up there for the last 10 years, and then stories I hear. Yeah. You like Crested Butte?
I've only spent a little bit of time in Crested Butte. My friends went to college there, so I went down and visited them. This is obviously a long time ago. And Dispatch played on campus, so we went and saw that. That was really fun. I went down there. I think I did a trip down there last year during this time of year, like wildflower season, and did like a hike up somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the mountains around there are absolutely beautiful. The wildflowers are really beautiful. I don't know the town very well, but I've spent some time over there. Not a lot. I spent way more time in Steamboat, and now I've been spending a lot more time in the Southwest, like Durango and Pagosa Springs. So it's just like, I don't know, if I had to choose between Steamboat and Pagosa Springs, like, it's tough.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah, what do you like about Pagosa? I haven't really spent much time there, so.
It's absolutely beautiful. They have the deepest natural hot springs in the state, at least. I just saw it recently online, but the river going through there is really beautiful. It's kind of like Steamboat, but different just because of the proximity. I mean, hunting-wise, there's lots of really good hunting down there, and I don't know a ton about it. It's just absolutely beautiful.
Sure.
And it's definitely probably expensive, but it's not as like top tier sort of situation like Steamboat has gotten to at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like it down there. It's nice because the hot springs are so chalky and full of like minerals and stuff. We were just down there this last weekend and hit the hot springs, and yeah, it's just so relaxing. Steamboat has great hot springs too, the Strawberry Park ones.
Yeah.
And they talk about the nickel in the water, or like the alkaline in the nickel having this like calming effect. So I kind of based my moving to Colorado on two things: elk hunting and hot springs.
And alkaline hot springs.
And alkaline hot springs. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it makes sense. Have you ever done hippie hot springs?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the only issue with strawberries. Like, it's kind of a commitment to get up there.
Yeah.
I guess it's not that bad of a drive, but also every time it's $20 now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they tell you have to have a reservation. I kind of found out if you go on off hours, because that's when the shuttles aren't running up there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like if you go 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, it's packed, but on the opposite hours, it's a little better.
Okay.
Yeah, and once or twice I've given somebody a 6-pack and they let us all in.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
It works out.
I was going to say, yeah, because I haven't gone up there because of not reservations, and like they've turned me down before, but I should have offered a 6-pack, obviously.
Yeah. We took the shuttle bus up there. I guess that was last winter. It was my first time doing it. It's kind of nice to pick you up at your place, take you up. I think it's $40-$50, but can have a couple road sodas and not worry about coming home after sitting in the water for a while.
Right.
That was my issue. I've been there enough times where it's like I can't sit there for 2 hours. I go sit in there for 20 minutes and then I start to get ready, and hopefully people meet me at the car ready.
I like going back and forth from the hot spring to the river, and then back to the hot spring. Depends on what time of day or night it is, and take a little break, maybe read a book or something. But going back and forth, just good for you, the cold plunge thing.
Totally.
And one time I was there, and the river wasn't high or anything. It was just, when it's not high there's a pool right next to where everybody sits and stuff like that. And there's some rocks in there you can sit on. So I was in there sitting, just like really still, and I had my timer on my watch to try and get like 8 or 10 minutes or something in there. And someone walked up, and they're like, "Oh, how's the water?" I'm like, "Oh, it's so great. Like, you have to come in here." And he like puts his stuff down, like walks in, and he's like, "What the heck?"
Oh, you're in the cold.
I'm in the cold.
Oh, okay.
He thought it was hot.
Yeah, it is while they're right next to each other. Yeah. There's nothing telling you unless you already know. Yeah. If somebody tells you you're in for some pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He thought it was hot. And I immediately laughed my ass off. And he was laughing, but he's like, "No way! How are you just sitting there or whatever?" Right. But yeah. I mean, at that point, I was training for the cold plunge situation.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good place to do it.
Yeah, for sure. It's amazing. Like, I would let my heart rate get up to like 145, 150, and then go in the cold water, let it calm all the way back down to like resting, like 50 or 60, and then go back in the hot water and let it rise back up. I think I did it like 2 or 3 times. I don't know if it's probably not that great to do a lot of times in a row. Sure. Just because of the stress.
Yeah.
But
well,
yeah,
I've heard both sides of cold plunge now. It's like people say it's amazing for your cardiovascular health, and I've heard other people, they're like, you're pretty much pushing your heart to the limit every time you get in, and how many you only get a certain number of heartbeats per your life, and you're stressing your body might not be as good as people think it is for you.
I don't believe you only get a certain amount of heartbeats.
I think just I hear how they're phrasing it, but
right.
I did think it was funny. It's like, so I mean, it's huge now. Everyone has them on their patios. Every gym has one, and it's like, what if they were on? What if it is shitty for you?
I don't know. I don't know how it could be if you feel really good after.
Right. Oh, I think the mental health part of it is probably more important. Yeah.
Right.
You're euphoric. Right. You're probably doing something active alongside it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And So when you get in the cold, your heart rate slows down and your blood comes to the center.
I mean, once you get past initial shock, I would think so.
Oh, you think the initial shock spikes your heart rate?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Huh.
I don't know how it wouldn't.
Yeah.
My neighbor is switching people out of their units right now, and for some reason my water stoppage is inside the closet in their unit. I think they turned the water off thinking it was their water since I was there for a week, and they accidentally turned off my cold water, so I've just been showered in like boiling hot water for a week.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's like, it's been 100 degrees out. It's been awful.
It's been so hot here.
Finally got in touch with them today, asking when I could get in. They're like, well, I'll be there next week. It's like, I don't know if I have another week of this. Yeah.
You can't cool it down
I'm going to run out of skin on my back.
It doesn't go colder?
Nope. Does not go colder.
Interesting.
Yeah. They definitely just accidentally turned off just the cold water, not knowing that it was my unit, not theirs.
Oh, people, humans, we're so imperfect. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And hilarious.
Well,
if you're not the one getting burned to death by water.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm pretty sure I know how to get into their apartment, but as soon as I asked them, they said, yeah, just wait till I get there. I was like, now I can't.
Yeah.
Now I can't just go in on my own.
Sure.
Now we're looking at B&E.
Yeah.
Try and turn the water down. But yeah, cold plunge, I think you probably get a little shock jar. My older brother is a raft guide, and he's a larger guy, so he does better with cold temps. But he taught me when we were backpacking 2 years ago by some glacier lakes that if you jump in, get out, and then jump in a third time you stay, it's totally better. Yeah, you're just comfortable immediately.
In the cold.
Yeah. I do that when we're on rafting trips now, when we're going to the river to shower. Yeah, it's interesting. I can sit in the water for 5 minutes if I do that. If I don't, I'm 30 seconds.
The initial shock, you're just like, oh, yeah. You kind of get used to it, right? It's like, yeah, that makes sense.
That would be another nice part of living in Steamboat. Just wash off in the Yampa every day.
Constantly going in the river.
Oh,
man. The river is amazing.
Yeah, I can't really do that in the Cherry Creek in Denver.
No.
I think they just pulled a murder victim out by my house a couple weeks ago. Well, I know they did. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yep. Washington and Spear, a guy got stabbed and left in the Cherry Creek. Yeah.
That's insane.
Crazy. That's insane. That's all the details I really know about. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Suspects or how old he was. Yeah. Speaking of the Cherry Creek Trail, I don't know if I told you this. I had a weird ordeal last week, so I biked with some of our buddies, with John and Ed.
Yeah.
And we were just doing a loop around town, and we jumped on Cherry Creek Trail. And there's some trees that are hanging pretty low over the trail. We're flying, and this bat just popped down out of the tree, and it smacked into my shoulder.
You hit a bat?
Oh, I bodied it.
Oh my god!
I mean, and the insect bats on the river, they're tiny. They're weighing nothing, so it just flew off the back of me. I was with my dad the next day, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is crazy. I hit a bat last night." And he's a doctor, and he goes, "Oh man," he's like, "We got to talk. What all happened?" And I tell him, and he had Denver Health Department call me, and I had to tell them the story over the phone, and they made a recommendation that I get treated for rabies, because there's two pools of or two rabies reservoirs in Colorado or in Denver.
Don't they have to bite you, or like did it break your skin? Or?
So that was the whole thing. So he has had patients before that this has happened to, and their teeth are so small you actually can't tell. No, so we might have just barely pricked you through your shirt. Yep, and it was a light shirt and everything, going fast enough, and it's like I have no idea if it was facing me or facing away. Who knew if it intentionally flew into me? Yeah. So as long as
it's probably really smart.
Yeah. Well, except rabies to get treatments is like there's no testing for it.
There's no testing.
No testing. So once you start getting symptoms, you're dead within a month.
Jesus.
100%. So yeah, it's a round of 4 vaccine shots. Pretty expensive. I went to Denver Health to try and get them, and the doctors there got real uppity with my dad. Started arguing. Well, it was actually the nurse that was arguing with him, saying if it didn't break the skin, if you can't tell if it broke skin, you definitely don't need to get it. And he's like, you can't really tell.
You can't tell.
So the doctor there
listen to the dad doctor.
Yeah. And then the doctor at Denver Health was like, hey, it's 1 in 100,000 chance. He's like, I wouldn't recommend any of my family members.
1 in 100,000.
Yeah.
That's like big.
Bigger, yeah.
In chances.
Well, first my dad was like, it's 1 in 10,000. I was like, let's get those shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That was over a week ago. I feel pretty good.
Okay. Have you gotten any shots yet or no?
Nope, not doing it.
You're not gonna do it.
Nope. I'm already getting all these vaccines for this trip in September to Africa.
Oh yeah.
So
you're going to Africa.
I feel like my body's gonna start to deteriorate. Doing yellow fever and typhoid, and then add rabies to the shot list. Like,
that's a lot on the system.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
And I do a COVID booster every morning.
Yeah, I'm sure. You seem like the type.
Yeah.
You took your mask up before you came in the house, right?
Exactly. I had a second one on in my car, just in case. Yeah. Just in case somebody sneezed near my car on the way over here.
Oh, I can't believe people still wear masks.
Blows my mind.
I haven't seen many lately, honestly. Yeah. But people, yeah.
Whenever I see somebody wearing a mask, it looks like the type of person that would be wearing a mask. And like, I'm not gonna laugh at them if they're in the grocery store, but if you're walking around in the park or down the street and you're by yourself, like,
yeah, outside,
maybe I guess I should be wearing body armor now when I'm biking for bats.
Right?
Yeah.
May as well.
That's a high percentage. 5% of bats in Denver, they said, are rabid.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, so Denver Health Department on the phone, they said it was right on the line, kind of a gray line or gray area if I needed to do it or not. It's tricky. It's like, you don't want to be wrong. Yeah.
Right.
There's no coming back from it.
So what's the percentage of rabid bats in Africa?
Well, I don't know about bats, but for dogs, it's really high. Marco,
really?
My dad was saying that. He's like, you and your brother need to make sure you're not paying dogs if you're not going to get rabies vaccines. And it's like, what about you guys? Are you getting them? He's like, no, but I'm not a goofball like you guys. Yeah, it seems like it's more based on you than it is on the situation.
You might be getting into something, and dog comes up or whatever.
Exactly.
Huh. Interesting. So why are you going to Africa? What are you doing?
Going with my dad and some of his family. He was the last to retire of his siblings, so celebration. They're going for
that's cool.
Yeah, they're going for like 3 weeks. I'm going for a week and a half. I finally just figured out where all we're going because I've been zero help in planning it.
Sure.
Yeah. They're still going to Kenya when we leave, which is interesting because if you watch the news, Kenya's in turmoil right now.
Really?
Oh yeah, a bunch of political issues, a bunch of violence in the street. When we received the packing list, 2 of the items that they say not to bring are don't bring black clothing and don't bring camouflage. And at first I was thinking it's for the animals.
Right, poaching. Yeah, don't want to look like a poacher.
No, it's actually you don't want to look like you're a soldier.
A soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I guess I look like, the Russian mercenary type over here.
Yeah.
So we're going to South Africa, Zambia, Rwanda, and then we split off and come home to go to Kenya and some other places. Yeah.
That will be insane.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Just go on safaris and stuff?
Yeah, a lot of safaris. I'm missing they're doing safari on horseback, which sounds so cool, except for the fact that it's like if a lion comes, how would it not just take you and the horse?
Yeah, for sure.
Unless those are some badass horses that they're on.
I'm sure there's like 12 guides with guns.
Yeah, that's an interesting
escorting
thing
you.
too.
Soldiers probably escorting you, maybe.
Yeah.
Or what's it like?
Well, there's so much effort against harming the animals. It's kind of like what is their plan if an animal is coming up to a tourist? Because you've seen videos where lions or cheetahs jump on top of the vehicles.
Yeah.
It's like they're pretty calm with them there. So maybe they know that with that many people, they're not going to attack. Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out. Yeah, or they're like, this line's worth more than the 2 tourists it's going to kill right now. Hey, everybody, delete your phones.
Yeah.
Can't let you leave anymore. You witnessed too much.
Right. Yeah. That's wild. That'll be interesting to hear the stories.
Have a tattoo like your forearm.
My tiger?
Yeah.
Well, a tiger should scare away a lion, right?
That's a good point. Have you thought about, so we talk about this all the time. I'm more scared of mountain lions than anything else when we're hunting. We see their tracks behind our horses all the time.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about putting some type of
like
eyes
a mask?
on the back? Yep.
I've heard about it.
I know mountain bikers do it.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
There's they sell these little pieces you hook onto your helmets, or we were talking about if you took like one of those white like Phantom of the Opera mask and you put that on your back of your head.
Yeah. Yeah, they should be able to discern.
Yeah, or some big googly eyes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, do they see color? If it's white, like, would they be able to see it look like a face? I'm not really sure. Do cats see color?
Good question. I know it's scared
the hell
the
internet,
out of me
but we
won't. Yeah. Hey Siri.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would scare the hell out of me though if I was walking through the woods and saw a guy with
a mask on the back.
That.
Yeah.
So our friends that hunt up by Fort Collins, they have this big elk camp, like 20 guys come through there throughout the month. And the very last week of hunting, when everybody's up there, one person gets to decide what the rest of the hunters have to do. Like one year I was there, we all had to, I think we were all wearing lipstick and like granny panties over our hunting suits the last day, which I totally forgot about until I ran into another guy. Yeah, but a year before I was there, they did face painting, and one of our friends they gave him the crazy Joker face paint.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, and he got pretty far away from camp, kind of got lost from everybody, so he walked to a road and he's put his thumb out, trying to hitchhike, and people would drive up and be like, "Hell no!" Take off.
He forgot he had the face paint on.
Yeah, actually, I knew I didn't remember I had makeup on the year that I was there until I took my mask down, and this guy had to be in his 70s, and he's just like, "What the hell?" Like, gave me a hard look, and he's like, "All right, go that way." We go the other.
Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, that'd be weird coming up upon someone with. I just saw a YouTube hunting show, and the guy lost a bet. I think it was like, I'm not even name names, but some pretty well up there in the hunting industry person, and he had to wear like flame pants. It almost reminded me of Guy Fieri, but like flame pants and like a flame like. Or yellow, like something. I can't remember the costume name, of course. Horrible at that stuff. Sure. But and then like a blonde wig. And he ends up shooting a bull with all that stuff on.
that kind of goes to show it's like people paint their faces. They're wearing top of the line Sitka gear.
Yeah, all that stuff.
They've got the elk scent on them, and then there's some dude out there in jeans and a t-shirt who's gonna get a bull.
Yeah, or some crazy costume with like red, yellow, all this shit.
Yeah. Did you go to the Guy Fieri Day at Avis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Hunting. We should maybe try it. You might be onto something.
We should try something, or at least make some sort of bet for fun this year.
Like whoever got skunked during bow season. Rifle season, you have to go out in a furry costume.
If you don't kill an elk this year, either rifle or bow, so October, so for our big Christmas party, you gotta wear, I don't know, nothing. Or a loincloth.
Yeah, I was gonna say clothing that you make yourself from a different hunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Elk loincloth.
Loincloth.
I've always thought about bringing my, trying to take the full elk out and making some type of clothing out of it, like making a jacket or pants.
If I'm close, if I'm 2 miles away, I want to pack the hide. Yeah, for sure.
Have you ever?
I have on my bull. I have mounted. Just like that part like half the hide.
Yeah.
But I haven't, just because, you know, there's so much going on with it. And yes, you could use those parts, but also like sometimes I will, like the hides sometimes, like I cut it into multiple pieces just to butcher the elk.
Mm-hmm.
So it would take the notion of like, okay, this one, like if I get like a nice cow during rifle season, it's not too far away, and she's a big cow, like sure, skin it all out and bring it home, and then send it to a tannery. All the hair will be removed, and then you have like a soft leather to make clothes. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
I really want to do it. I really want to do it.
I could see you trying to do the tanning process yourself too.
Brain tanning?
I mean, I've seen this guy online. He lives somewhere in Montana, just by himself, and makes all of his own. It tans everything himself. But I mean, it's a process for sure.
It's a huge process.
Yeah. Wonder how much it changed. Like if you send it to a tannery, how much is done by hand? How much is done by machine?
Right.
Yeah. That'd be great though. I mean.
Well, it depends on how much you pay.
Right.
Because there's certain levels of tanning. Mm-hmm. Like you can get real hard, stiff, or you can get like the buffalo hide that I have that I bought from in Steamboat. Mm-hmm. Like that thing has like the highest quality tanning. It's so soft and like movable. It's literally like a blanket, but it has like the highest quality of tanning.
Right.
So you do it on your own. Yeah, I mean, you got to be really well practiced to get it really, really good. I like to save money when it comes to hunting, and I process all my own meat for that factor. And then, you like to spend some money on if you get a big bull for a European mount or a shoulder mount or something like that. But, my thing about the shoulder mounts and the hides is it's great to keep and great to make it into something because you're continuing to appreciate that animal. You may have eaten already all of it, and it was like 2 years down the road, and you're still using that piece of whatever. Like these antlers. Like we're using this antler for a mic stand. This is a buck. It looks like a shed antler, but I archery killed this buck and cut the antlers off because at the time didn't have the money to get a European, or I didn't want to get a shoulder mount, and I was just like, how many European mounts do I have? How many shoulder mounts do I need or have? And it's like,
right,
how many am I gonna have? Where am I gonna put all this stuff?
It's funny when you meet these people that have like 30 mounts in their house, and then they put down a bull, and they're like, oh man, my dog's gonna love this for the antlers, for the bone. Just like, you son of a bitch. Yeah, you put down like a 5x5, and you're like, I got 10 of those at home.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. We have some friends in southern Wyoming that walking through their houses, it looks like a museum.
Really? Okay.
Beautiful, yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. You need a big garage, I think, someday.
Yes, that is the plan. The plan is to buy land. The next plan, like my next investment, is going to be buying a piece of land and building another house on it. And it's not going to be a big house, like, because it's still early in my house building career. Like 1,500, 2,000 square feet, 1,700 maybe. And then like a 18,000 square foot garage.
Totally. Yeah. That's
with a lift. Right. And,
That's absolutely driving through North Colorado and southern Wyoming. It's like some okay looking houses and, a bunch of side-by-sides or double wides.
Yeah.
And then just a garage that they should have
some man shed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to
Priorities.
build. Yeah, I'd love to build one with the back part being a rental unit, and then have the whole space for trucks and toys and dirt bikes and all the hunting gear and a bar, of course. A wet bar, and then all the mounts. I should show you a picture sometime. Some of my listeners probably remember the Ugly Coyote Saloon at the Sunrise Ranch, which I'll have to show you a picture of sometime. I used to partially own with my folks. We called it the ranch back in Wisconsin. And I built this bar from barnwood from my grandma and grandpa's barn on their property that fell down from a tornado. And then I have this horseshoe or horse saddle stool and all these. Avery's like, what's going on, Avery? Avery, come here. What are you whining about? What are you whining about? Come up here, Avery. Avery, come here.
She almost just took her recurve bow off.
She was just
the bottom here. Hey, what do you got to say?
I don't know. She's just whining. I don't know if she has to go outside or what, but
maybe she heard elk antler.
Yeah, I think she's ready for some fresh meat. I'm pretty much out of elk from last year, so
good timing.
It is pretty good timing, honestly.
Pressure's on, you know.
Pressure is on, and I didn't shoot a very big elk last year. Mm-hmm. I didn't get one with my bow. I got one with my rifle, and I've been sparingly eating it. Mm-hmm. But I'm about to go ham. And I have bones. I brought back the bones, some of the bones, like the shoulder bone and the arm and like the femur or something. I don't know, variety of bones where I'm going to make some bone broth with it and make a nice soup or stew. And
I'm a big fan of that. That's,
like I didn't bring back the hide, but I brought back bones to crack open and cook the bone marrow out of it. It's so good.
I bought the biggest slow cooker pot I could find.
Okay.
It's still too small, so I'm still like sawing these bones in half.
Right.
Make sure that the ladies aren't around when I'm doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives off an awful smell after it's been in the freezer for a while,
and then you're cutting the bones, and the bone shards get a little warm, and they start to like smell weird.
It totally has it leaves a flavor in your mouth before you even eat it. I have a friend who he's been hunting since he was like 6 years old. He's really the guy who taught me how to bow hunt, and I've seen him look at somebody processing elk, and I can see his mouth like watering. He's like, he can see an elk that he knows is just the right age and that the types of meats he's gonna be able to get off of it.
Sure.
And he's like, I'm just starving right now. He's like a base level primate hunter.
That's awesome.
Totally.
I feel like that myself, except for I've indulged so much into food this last summer and stuff. Like, groceries are really expensive. Mm-hmm. All the good food's really expensive. You still gotta buy it. Still gotta eat it.
Yep.
And there's some good food for sure, but there's nothing that compares to like having a full freezer of elk, like a full freezer where you can cook once or to like 3 times a week. I don't know if I like to change up my diet somewhat throughout the week. I could eat elk at least 3 or 4 days a week, whether it's steak and eggs and then, fish for dinner or something, and then elk the next day for dinner.
Yeah.
Burgers, sausages on the go. But yeah, it's something that, I don't know, do you think you could eat it every day?
I could. It'd be something I would have to decide on. I just have my rule is if it's in my house, I'm just going to eat it. So if I have to plan while I'm at the grocery store. Also, the issue is, I live in an apartment, so I don't have anywhere to put a big chest freezer. Luckily, I've got my family like an hour away. So if we do have elk, I just need to make sure that I'm planning ahead, consistently getting it. It's pretty funny. My partner, her dad, will send us a bunch of steaks from one of his coworkers every year. And it's like, I have nowhere to be able to put this now. Like, there's no way I can keep that much of a cow in this part of my freezer and then try and force elk into the other. Yeah. I want to do more, make more dried meats and more beef sticks this year.
That'd be a good plan because it's insane how much it shrinks down.
Yeah.
And you can freeze all that stuff too.
Totally. when I lived in Mexico, it was huge. I lived with a game warden down there, and he would take, I forget exactly what it was, some type of really large deer, and he would pretty much just dry out the entire thing, strip it, and then salt it on these huge counters in their backyard, leave it out in the sun for 2 days, smoke it.
Sun dry it.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
Sun jerk it.
Sounds wrong.
That sounds really wrong.
Sun jerk it. Sounds like something a dude in Boulder does in his backyard.
Yeah.
Like sunning is, that's called sunning when they put their butt up in the air. Try and get the alkaline out of the air.
Yeah. Yeah, that's too funny. No, I've heard of that, and that's a great aspect of knowledge for survival.
Yeah.
How are you going to preserve an animal that you kill out there? It's like, all right, well, spend a whole day and a half cutting it into slices, laying it out on the rocks, and then guard it from the crows and birds or bears and lions, and then you've got sun-dried jerky meat.
You can even do it with fish. I mean, probably awful to do it with like Colorado trout, but
probably.
Yeah, if you're in Alaska or Canada.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have some types of salmon here. You could see doing it with grayling. Yeah, that's it. I mean, when World War III hits,
we need to try it so we know how to before World War III.
Yeah, and just
like take like a camping weekend and just like whatever, right. I don't know, catch some trout and then like, okay, we need to stay out here for at least 3 more days so we can sun dry this stuff.
Oh, we come back just with the worst breath.
Yeah.
Go straight home to Listerine and toothbrush.
Well, what about the flies? Like,
well, let's see here. So I've always thought about if you did. I'm pretty sure the dude I lived with in Mexico was also putting lime and one other type of spice on them. I helped him out, but this was a long time ago.
Sure, keep away the bugs.
Yeah, and I was thinking, what's it called? The tahine.
Oh.
Get a commercial-sized tahine jug. That'd probably be pretty good.
That would be good. It'd be like sweet. Yeah.
It's a bunch of elodie flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be delicious.
That, and you have to have the right type of salt, too, because, if you're using just kitchen salt, it does nothing for you.
No. Yeah, I think you have to brine it. So you brine it so it's a lot of salt. Brine it first, and then it's got to be like 24 hours or something. Don't quote me, but brine it for quite a while. Or you figure out how long to brine it based on trial and error over time, I imagine. And how much salt to put in it. I'm sure there's recipes online, but if it's World War III and you haven't done it yet.
Yeah. I have this book called, I've had it since I was a little kid.
Not sure what I did there.
Looks like it's still going.
Yeah, I think we're good.
It's called, it's something for the book of lessons for misbehaving young men. And it's like on how to start a fire, how to make a fishing line. Wow, now I'm thinking the title, that does not sound right. Yeah, whatever it is, but I was like, I should just keep that book in case down the world, because like there are some things, and I do remember seeing how to make your own jerky and how to make you can make a camp freezer in the ground by yourself. That's one method you could.
How do you do that?
So you dig pretty deep. I mean, depending on where you are, but if you go 4 feet down near a creek bed or a river, and then you can somehow try and insulate it, it's going to take a lot of the temperature from the body of water next to it, and that's just about keeping smart. The animals out. Yeah,
so it would probably 55 degrees?
Yeah.
Would it get down to 40s? Would it probably be 50, 55 in the ground?
I remember seeing a video of this guy who builds his own compound out in Alaska, and he lays down a bunch of meat, and then he takes like mud and some different types of moss, lays on top, and then adds more meat. And by the time he's coming back around on the next summer, he's eating the meat from the very bottom that stayed the coldest.
Hell yeah. That'd be awesome.
Well, it's kind of like nature's smart fridge.
Right. Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to just do that.
Right. Yeah,
you could do that. You have an apartment.
I do.
So you might need a nature freezer.
I should.
Sure, you could buy another freezer to put at your dad's place.
I have a parking spot. I've thought about putting a chest freezer in, except we have a lot of break-ins. I'm like, put a couple padlocks on it, and then my neighbors are gonna be like, "What the hell are you keeping in this freezer?"
In this freezer, yeah. Who did you kill and put in there?
Yeah, people in Denver are definitely not used to seeing hunters moving around.
Right.
Like when I'm going to the gun range and I'm bringing my rifle out, I live in this 1970s apartment where a lot of the tenants have been there since it was built.
Really?
Oh, there's some people have been there 50 years.
Interesting.
And I'm walking out with a 308 in a giant case.
Yeah.
I thought about just putting stickers on to make it look like some type of instrument, say like a trombone or something. Yeah. That'd actually be great.
That's a pretty good idea.
Case, because curves at the end. You could go,
right.
Yeah, it's totally a trombone.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good idea.
Yeah. My parents in Fort Collins, they live in kind of downtown, which is a pretty hippie-ish area. And my dad and I are wearing our camo and we're walking outside with our bows, getting in the truck, leaving for a hunt. And the neighbor asked us, he's a long-haired dude, plays the guitar, smokes weed all the time. Like, classic, exactly what you picture.
Right.
Old hippie guy. And he's like, "Where are you guys headed?" My dad, just without missing beat, hunting hippies. It's just, hunting liberals. And then just takes off. Yeah, never really looked back to see.
That's too funny.
What the fuck did he say?
That's too funny.
You want to crack another new glass?
Yeah, let me grab you a beer.
Perfect, thank you. Sounds good. Or whatever, thank you. Whatever you want. So, I brought you all here today. Wild Clay's gone. Thank you.
Keep going. Keep going.
I want to talk about the important things. If you're going out for a big night and waking up to hunt in the morning, let's stick to tequila, soda, and limes this year. No dark alcohol.
That's probably smart.
Yeah.
Keep it running clear.
Right? That's always my goal when I go out. It's like, just have some tequilas, you'll feel great, and then somebody buys a round of Jameson, and it's like the combination, you're actually worse off than if you had just started with Jameson.
Right. Yeah, so this year you're coming back from Africa and then going to try and get like a weekend for September.
So I'm hunting the opening day, then the first 3 or 4 days, hopefully. Mm-hmm. We just had our 12th 100+ degree day, so this fall is going to be super warm. Yeah, this week is dropping into the 80s, luckily, but it's going to be super hot, and I just know, it's going to be tough to get into them the first week, so planning on coming back and hitting it hard for a couple more days when we get back. Yeah. The hunt we're doing this year, we just bought a little piece of land that gives us access to 200 acres of BLM land that's surrounded by private.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
And
it's like a small enough manageable amount to hunt.
Mm-hmm. And my dad and our buddy that we hunt with they were just up there, and they believe there's a resident herd. So
is there? Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I think where we've hunted the last few years, higher north and further towards the foothills, you really have to just time it out well, which is the third weekend through the end.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The first year hunting, we hunted a week straight, saw 2 elk, and then the very last week we're just seeing herds of 80, herds of 120.
Really?
Although, as soon as the first snow fell, it was crazy. They just decide who's the king for the year, and that's
right.
It. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Resident herds don't seem to work that way. It's kind of like they're already together by the time season comes around, and
and they just stay herded up, and they might just
also
go around between each other, and they might move around somewhat, but
probably a little easier to figure out their patterns too.
Right.
I'm imagining that a lot of the herds up north after that harsh winter 2 years ago are kind of taking different paths now, and they're probably changing their schedule just based on we can't do that again. We lost over half of our guys last year, you know.
Yeah, I wonder if they learned from that.
Yeah. They seem to learn pretty quickly on what's killing them, and I mean, that's all they're thinking about year round is how to survive. One year we were hunting, out by Granby, and there was a burn zone from the Cameron Pass fire.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we were riding horses. We covered tons and tons of miles. This is rifle season, and as soon as we're leaving the area every day, we just see a herd of elk sitting in the burn zone that they know we're not allowed to go in.
Interesting.
Yeah, public land, but it was all roped off, and you weren't allowed to go in.
Huh.
So from the year before, they knew that people hadn't gone there. They
went right into there.
Yeah.
Which is like public land that you just can't hunt.
Mm-hmm. Or public land you can't enter. I think it's typically for a year or 2 years, and burn zones will do that so that the forest has some time to recover.
Huh. Maybe in select areas for sure. Huh,
it's crazy that they're sitting there just looking at us. They knew. They're like, yeah, you went for us, that we weren't there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this year. I just went and retrieved a trail camera.
Okay.
And no resident herd up there where my trail camera was. All summer, nothing. Maybe a cow every once in a while, but it was as soon as October 5th hit to about November, there were elk in there. Cows, some small bulls.
Yeah.
But it was deer and rifle, and I don't know, they must have just got pushed up to that pocket, or is really high elevation. But I went up and bow hunted there, saw some deer, saw a cow calf, but no bulls and no sign. So it was just interesting. There's areas, right, that you think might look good, but then they're not there until October. Same with this other spot I hunted by Steamboat. One year there was nothing there all archery season, and then they came in a little bit deer and rifle, not all winter, and then in the summer, the next summer, they were there, and they were there the day before archery season, and then they didn't come back until after archery season. Like, based on the trail camera.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. It's like they have their calendar. They know what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was saying with that, where we hunted in rifle last year, they will sit in that private land and just watch us.
Yeah.
And they'll call back to us. I mean, the only chance you have, there's a friend who's been hunting there forever. He's been trying to call this one bull. I mean, it screamed at us this year. It didn't even bugle. Like, it sounded like there's it's in this really deep pocket that it's echoing off the sides of these walls where it sounded like a monster or a dragon or something.
Yeah.
And we thought we maybe got it to come out a little bit, but there's 200 yards of private line where it's watching us from. I think it will actually go to the top when we're called down to us, and we'll start hiking up, and it'll just ride that private line and says, you know, I know who you are. I know you're not one of the outfitters. I know that you're not coming over here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It always sucks to be dancing that public-private line. But with the way the properties are so chunked up out here, and there's BLM here, there's National Forest, and it's pounded. Good BLM, but it's landlocked. I mean, you name it, there's every situation. But it's like, they know. They do come over onto public, like later at night, or if a cow brings them over or something. But I was doing the same sort of situation. We had them coming over, but also there was like the screamers. Like, these bulls are like, it sounds like a zombie apocalypse down there. Just like, like the weirdest noises coming from these bulls. And one time we had one over and we got down there and I was working my way up to him. Didn't know exactly where he was. Turns out he was on the opposite side of like a small, like 20 by 20 patch of aspens. And then I could see him through the aspens, so I was just like moving up, try and get there, and he came out the other side, drew back, and he was quartered. I ranged right where about he was before, and I tried to range him, but he was quartered so hard that I just didn't want to take the risk, and it was at like 50, 55, quartering super hard, which, some people could make that shot, but he's looking straight back at me. But a beautiful, huge 5x5 with like super dark chocolate rack with super ivory tips, and it was just been massive, amazing bull. But we were 100 yards from the fence line, and then he ran over and jumped over the fence and stopped broadside, like just looking, and then he just trotted up the fence line back to his girls. And it's just like, okay, what do you do? Yeah. But I plan to hunt the first weekend. And last year I saw some nice bucks. I have a buck tag, or I have either sex deer tag this year because I had 1 point and I drew. And last year I saw 2 really nice bucks, a bull, and 2 cows out in this meadow that the deer were feeding, the elk were moving through the meadow. So I think I'm going to go back to that area, and I'm even debating on bringing my tree saddle and setting up in one of the little, there could be an aspen here and one right next to each other, and just bring like 2-foot pegs or something to get 3 or 4 feet off the ground right next to a tree, and then look over this meadow, because I think people hunt on the top and push them down through this area, and also people are coming up from the middle, so they like use this area. So I'm thinking it's going to be hopefully really good, but like we talked about before, things change from year to year.
Right.
So
that's like the Mike Tyson thing. Everyone has a plan until they get hit in the face.
Yeah.
That's how hunting season feels like.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm excited because I put in so much time last year, so I know where not to go, right? Like I know where I found bulls, I know where I didn't find bulls, I know where I found cows, I know where there were no elk. But It seems to be that if you can find a lot of grass, like grass is their most, like the highest percent diet. So like if you can find some grass, like lots of grass, like sections like burns, right, or just natural meadows with tons of grass in it, it might be like the quintessential place to elk hunt. But you might not hunt the meadow, but they're there because they eat out of the meadow all night, or get up and eat the edge during the day or something like that. But there has to be elk with that amount of grass if you find like good grass in an area.
And that's huge for going back to the same spot year after year. I think it's more important to know where not to go than where 100%. You've seen elk, because even if you're at the right altitude, the forest isn't too dark, you can turn a corner after hearing a bugle, and then there's just a bunch of tree fall that you can't get through without scaring them off.
Yeah.
That just ends your 2-hour operation. So that's kind of my goal, is to, in the next few years, really settle down on a spot that we're going to hunt. Hopefully this area where we just bought.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like everywhere we've ended up, you're not expecting to come down across a creek that you can't cross. You show up. Windfall has been the biggest issue. I mean, there's so much beetle kill in North Colorado. And
just the blowdown is insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. In some parts, it's like an entire mountain, and it takes an hour to cross what should take 10 minutes to cross.
Yeah.
Just climbing over and under stuff. I'm wearing shin guards this year too.
Shin guards?
Oh yeah.
That's probably smart.
Yeah, yeah. I've thought about it before with we wear gaiters typically.
Yeah.
And now there's gaiters for snake protection too.
Right.
I'm not worried about the snakes. I'm worried about putting my shin through the side of a tree.
That's smart. I want femoral artery guards.
Okay. Yeah. That's just made more important. Totally. My dad is 6 inches shorter than I am, and he's had multiple knee surgeries and hip surgeries, and like I'll climb over something that I can barely get over. I look back and he's like trying to get on a high beam, you know. Yeah. It's nice to have a little
you
bit
slip
of
and just impale yourself on.
I would assume that's the majority of hiking injuries. Yeah. Last year, my buddy, I still think he tore his ACL. He's a tough guy. He was in the Army and everything, and but he went down. I saw the way his knee twisted, and we were high up on just a slick ridge, and I thought I was gonna have to carry him out somehow. Yeah.
That'd be bad.
Yeah, but he toughed through it somehow.
Huh.
Yeah. He's got 50, 60 pounds on me probably.
Yeah. That would be not fun.
That's why he paid the extra 25 cents for the helicopter insurance.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's such a great deal.
Yeah, my mini InReach, I have it has the service and everything, and I think then we get some other wilderness protection from. Well, I know I do from my mini InReach, but I don't know what else.
Like when you purchase it, you get additional protection through the InReach? Really?
Pretty sure.
I just bought an InReach last year. One to share, which helps.
Tough to share. I mean, you can text mom.
Yeah.
Tell you you're safe, but hard to communicate if you're not with someone, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. We've had the little mini radios.
Yeah.
And then just somebody always forgets to turn the volume down or to turn it off.
Right.
Accidentally hits a button and blows our herd out. Yeah. And, I mean, also just the terrain that we're in, it doesn't do you much good unless you're pretty much looking at the person. One year we were super separated. I was with my family friend's son, and my dad was with the kid's dad, and I mean we didn't even know where they had gone. I knew it was their fault because I've seen them read maps.
Sure.
Yeah. But they were like, "We'll just come to you guys to shoot your gun off, and we'll come." I was like, "That's there goes the rest of the day as soon as we shoot a gun." So we're yelling over the radio, like if I'm gonna do it or not. It's like at this point I've been yelling. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Shoot around into the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, those InReaches are great.
Yeah.
Great for safety. Good to just, I'll text my dad when I'm out for multiple days. I'll text him every other day, or if it was a hard day, I'll just be like, "Yep, I made it back. I made it back. It's raining. I'm going to sleep in my little tiny bivy sack tent and then wake up at way before light, do it all over again."
So do you pre-write these messages on the Mini, and then you can just like pick a message to send, or can you actually type out a message?
So it links to my phone.
Oh.
So there's literally an app right on my phone that you can text any of your contacts, and it's just easy peasy. Wow. It's just right on your phone.
Okay.
And then it sends that person a pin of your location and the message.
I've got to do some research on how they work.
Yeah, they're sweet. You have to pay. It's $30 a month for unlimited text. It's less for limited text, but I'm just like, I need unlimited text. I carry it in my truck all the time.
And you're hunting alone, it sounds like, a lot of the time.
For the most part, yeah.
So you're up there checking football scores.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I can have a conversation and not worry about, running out of text for this hunt or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's super slick. It's got map tracking, so you can turn tracking on, tracking off, and then later you can download all the tracking stuff onto your phone. And when you're out there, it's like you can kind of see if you needed to. Like you could follow your little, I mean, it's a little tiny screen, but you could follow your track back if that's all you had.
Yeah.
If you didn't have, because I've always got like Onyx running, 2 backup battery packs to charge the phone if needed. And then with those 2 packs, I can be out there for like 5 days, 5 or 6 days, and have a full charge phone the whole time to track everything. And what during tracking, like your phone
any season too that you're typically setting up that way, or is that more bow season?
Bow season. Okay. Rifle season, I generally have my wall tent with wood stove. I'm coming back to the wood stove tent every night, sleeping on a cot.
Makes a difference.
It makes a difference. But archery season, you get away with. I mean, at the end of season, it'd be nice to have a wood stove and a wall tent, but depending on what elevation and where you're at. But there's elk at all elevations in Colorado. They tend to be. You think they're high.
85.
Yeah, yeah. But there's resident herds in just south of here in the flat ground on the Front Range, and there's resident herds all over from 7,500 all the way up to in the high country. Granted, some of the bigger herds might be up in the high country and stuff, but they come down like as soon as acorns are dropping on in oak brush.
Yep,
they're in there for sure. Also, are the bears.
Yeah,
but I've found a lot of success hunting that oak brush in Colorado. You can hunt the big high country dark timber stuff and high alpine, people kill plenty of bulls up there, I'm sure, but I don't know, I've just had more luck with where there's a mass crop and a bunch of grass in between, and
just gets more difficult if you're hunting public land, because as soon as you're coming lower, you're getting into farmland, and hopefully somebody that can give you a depredation tag or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. But I know what you mean. Also, it's more comfortable.
Oh, the walking's way easier.
Yeah.
There's some steep stuff, and but it's not like you're walking on like all sorts of little rocks everywhere, and like the ground is like it's different. It's rolly. It's like rolly country compared to like super rocky, steep, high alpine stuff, which as we get older and for older gentlemen, it's to hunt lower in that oak brush. It's a great idea for sure. You don't have to hike way up high per se.
I'm definitely the youngest person in every hunting group I'm in.
Yeah.
But I'm generally the one pushing for that type of hunt, because I'm like, I've seen tracks down here.
Yeah.
It just, if we bust our ass over 2 mountains and then we get something for busting our asses back over,
we're going to die.
It's just as good of a chance down here as up there.
For sure.
I want to ask you if you've seen the new iPhone update. You can now download maps, including terrain maps, and they have tracking on them. So I wonder if that's going to start to hurt Onyx. I think people are pretty loyal to Onyx.
For Google Maps?
Yeah.
For iPhone maps.
iMaps. Google might be doing it too, though. I mean, they kind of follow each other.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I haven't updated it. I haven't tried it myself, but I know that's one of the items is that, you can download maps and track yourself across them. Yeah. Not set up for hunting, who knows if it's going to show water sources and obviously
all the other tabs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might not be bad to have both, because I know you can choose through different imagery on Onyx, and you can also choose through different imagery on Google Maps. I'm not sure on iMaps, but yeah, I mean, it might be handy to just have another, depends on the the quality of the photos. If iMap has better imagery, better quality, sometimes the Google Maps and sometimes Onyx, honestly, isn't that good.
Yeah.
It's not like you can see, like you have to pick out what type of trees are going on in the situation based on the color, the like texture.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't see if it's an aspen stand or if it's a dark timber pine stand unless you can differentiate the colors.
Right. Well, so on Google Maps, actually, you would be able to, because you can select the time of year, the year itself,
Sure.
when you're actually looking at what satellite image. Like, I found this out in my construction development classes that you can, like, let's say you pick an area of Denver and you want to see how many houses have been built since 1970. You can actually move the satellite imagery back to 1970.
Crazy.
And back forward.
Yeah.
Lay them on top of each other. Actually, I want to start going more analog and bringing like a physical map with me. I've thought about that. Like,
sure.
The perfect area that I know I'm hunting a lot. Print it out, put it in, laminate it. And I can put my notes on it myself, just to kind of hone the skill in, rather than relying on Onyx.
Yeah, that's smart.
Or even just backpacking too. Maybe I should start doing that on a backpacking trip and go from there.
Yeah, it's navigating. It's always nice to be like, okay, here's my track. This is where I came from. This is where I'm going. But if you, depending on the area where you're hunting, it's generally kind of like, if you look, it's like a valley.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you're on this side, you just go down back to the trail in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to necessarily, I don't have to track or put waypoints everywhere. Mm-hmm. But it's great to have that.
Oh, I get in trouble if I have too many waypoints. You know, my notes are never that great on them, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, what was this?
Yeah.
But if you had a map that you can compare to your Onyx from last year and put waypoints in on the map or something that makes sense and stuff, and then just navigate, you get to know the forest and you know the area and know how long it takes. It's just a matter of getting to know an area well. I think it's better to know an area well than to know a lot of different areas. Like, totally. It's better to know how to hunt one property than peripherally know 5 properties that might have elk on it, because it's just a rotation game. If they're not there that day, and if you've seen them there before and it's good habitat,
they're gonna
wait 5 days.
Yeah,
or 3 days, right. And then they're gonna be through or whatever. Yeah. So, and if you know where they come through, you know the terrain, you know the pockets, you know the honey holes, then yeah, you're better off. You're like, oh, 2 days, no elk. I'm gonna drive an hour and a half this way and look around. Glass. I know a lot of people have success with glassing from roads, and there's all sorts of stuff. The game's kind of changed a little bit, but if you're going to new areas, and there's not always good glassing opportunities from the road. Right. There's not always even decent access. So instead of wasting that time of driving, you just kind of bear down and hunt that one area until they come back through. Or, you know, if it's a ghost town and it's been pushed out by a bunch of people, that's sort of a different story. But if it's like, you know, there's not been that many people up there, you've got trail camera pictures or something, and you've seen elk like off the day before or something, it's worth just to hang.
Yeah. I think, depending on what type of hunter you are, there's different difficulties to that. For myself, I know that half the time, or half of my value in hunting is just walking around and seeing stuff. So if I am hunting the same spot, like my first 2 years, I was in a tree stand, the same tree stand every day for 5 days straight, and definitely had opportunities because of it.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's like
bored as hell.
Like, wow, I just sat in one spot, you know.
Yeah.
So I absolutely agree with not getting in the car, driving an hour and a half. It's the same danger as if you go one ridge over one morning versus the next.
Mm-hmm.
It just comes down to how lucky you are.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say my definition or what I meant by hunting one spot. I think it's like hunting one area.
Mm-hmm.
Not like one specific spot, but like maybe you know a couple good bedding areas to call by the time the wind starts coming up the mountain.
Yeah.
And you know a couple good meadows to set up next to or feeding areas in the mornings. And then so it's like you kind of hunt it like you're moving right away in the morning just outside of the feeding range or on the edge of the feeding ground, between the feeding and bedding. And then if there's nothing there or they get past you, then you're going up and above and then hunting the bedding area or trying to be on the edge of it and call them out with raking branches or, you know, just subtle enticements, building up your scenario, starting with just raking and so on and so forth, going to a bull talking to cows. And because if there's a bull bedded with cows and then you're talking to your cows, he's going to be curious and just sneak up silently all of a sudden.
Right.
And then you're moving back towards food in the evening, but like just in one general area per se. And I've hunted water, and it's always good to be around water, and people have killed plenty of elk on water holes. I haven't had the best luck because it's just so hit or miss.
Yeah.
And with limited time, it's just so hit or miss. I don't know.
Yeah, I like hunting wallows. Just it's entertaining, even if you're not getting elk in on them. You know,
right.
You're gonna see a lot of wildlife.
Yeah, deer, birds,
yeah,
all sorts of cool stuff.
I was in a tree stand sitting in a wallow, and this huge red hawk came in. I had my mask up, everything.
Yeah.
Huge red hawk came in. I didn't move till the last second. It was going to land right where I was sitting. And I moved it, did a reverse, and flew backwards. It was It was crazy timing too. This fox had just run across the bottom of the tree I was in. So I'm looking down. I look up, and yeah,
predators everywhere.
It was an out of body experience. Yeah,
that's cool.
Calling is so. I feel like every year I switch how I think about calling. I'm kind of curious how you approach it. My friend Jake, who is the one who initially taught me how to hunt, he'll bugle in the morning. If nothing responds, then that's it for an hour. Then maybe a few cow calls a little bit later. But this year when we were in rifle, our other friend, he's like a one-man marching band. He's got hoochie mamas, 2 different types of hoochie mamas in both hands. He's got a reed in his mouth, his tube that he's putting up, or he's either cow calling or using the tube to bugle. And then he's usually puts a bunch of branches under his feet and he's stomping around.
Yeah,
he wants to sound like a herd, not just like one other elk.
Right.
Which it worked really well when we pulled in really huge, beautiful bulls from that private land.
Yeah, I think it's better to call than not to call.
Yeah,
for sure. Because animals are always talking to each other, and some of the experiences I've had this last year, I know bulls, they don't always just bugle. Like some of the younger bulls, and I don't need to shoot a huge bull. I want to. No. That'd be great. But like a legal bull or like a good bull, I passed up a legal bull last year, but it was like small.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know if it had more antler than your mic stand, but it had 4 points, I think. But it was like, this is like, no.
Right.
There's no.
Do you have pretty good vision? Do you wear glasses?
Nope. I've had 20/20 vision. This thing was at 35 yards. It was fully drawn back. We were just sitting in camp, and we heard the clippity-cloppity like a galloping horses coming by. So I stand up, grab my bow. I'm barefoot, like shirt off, just in my hunting pants because we just got back from morning hunt.
Your Guy Fieri pants.
Yeah, my Guy Fieri pants. Draw back because like I hear him coming. And then a cow goes by, they all stop, and then the bull stands right in front of me. I'm like, is it legal? I was asking my buddy. He couldn't hear me because he was like 12 yards away. And I couldn't quite tell, but I was like pretty sure. But I'm like, it's too small.
Yeah.
So I let down, and that's okay. But we didn't have to call that one in.
Sure.
Yeah. But I do. I would rather if you. I'm thinking about getting a bigger tube this year.
Mm-hmm.
I have a pretty small one, and the elk, I feel like, kind of almost figured out that I wasn't a bull potentially, just because they'd be coming, and then I would try and talk to them or something, and then they'd like quiet down.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's also something I've heard with hoochie mamas too. It's like it's the exact same thing, same pitch. Do they now know, because they've seen so many, they've walked down so many hunters with those? It's like, I'm not going to that pitch of a call.
Right.
Then for all for the largest part, people are using similar reeds, similar tubes. It's like, how do you kind of differentiate? You put some cardboard inside your tube or something.
Sure, something.
Yeah.
But what I noticed with getting to hear so much talking, every time I hunted there, it was just all day long talking, and then I honed in on where they're coming out, so I set up, and then they make these like, if they're just trying to be quiet, they're still talking. They're making these like chirp noises almost, and cows are making soft chirps, something you couldn't hear 100 yards away.
Right.
And
I've
even
heard some grunts, kind of like moose almost.
Yeah. Yeah, panting. Yeah, it's like panting. And they'll do these like soft, light, not necessarily full bugles, but just almost like a loud yawn.
Yeah.
Or something. Like whatever. But yeah, and you can't hear it that far away, but they're still talking. So if you're doing those soft chirps and like you're acting like a herd, and you're just moving and you stay consistent with it, something's gonna come check you out.
Right. Yeah.
For sure.
I've kind of that's what I mean. I've changed my mind on it. Whereas before I was trying to match their tone. If they chirp softly, I chirp softly. And then this last year made me realize, like, if they chirp softly, maybe I need to just wow wow wow. It's like, hey, it's great over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows?
Come party.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows what they think you're saying? So switching it up, getting loud. I mean, it was when our buddies started going off, because I didn't know that's what he was gonna do. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he was going nuts or something, like trying to scare a bear away or a moose away.
Yeah.
It's clapping his feet.
Just dancing around like a one-man
nuts.
band.
Yeah. I mean, it kept working though. He knows that area super well. Could be different for different herds.
Right.
But yeah, my favorite thing for calling I've heard is when you bugle and you're getting a response bugle, just to interrupt them, and it just pisses them off. Yeah.
Yeah. Bugle over them.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
like
I've got them so fired up, bugling over them. That definitely can work. I haven't had,
depending on the bull, if it's a big old ornery guy, for sure. If it's a young bull, they don't want it.
Yeah, and even the old bull, if they have cows, they don't care. They're just like, well, sure.
Yeah.
If you show your face, I'll probably do something about it. But that's where the lip ball bugle, like if a bull has cows and you're calling over them to be more dominant, but then the lip ball bugle means you're talking to his cows, inviting them over. So if you lip ball bugle and ask his cows to come over, he's going to be pissed. That'll even piss him off even more.
Yeah.
And then it's a chance that they'll come over. But the thing that I've had work the most is like the slow play type situation where you're starting off with raking and whatever. Say you're close to a bull, you heard one go to bed, you start off with raking, and you don't do any cow sounds, and you do some panting and glunking, and then short screams talking to your cows.
Sure.
You like build this all up, and then you're talking to your own cows, and then they're gonna be coming, hopefully, right? But if you got bulls in there and they can hear all this, it might take them a while, but sit there for 45 minutes.
Right.
Sit there for 2 hours and rake around. And if you got a herd right in that area, satellite bull might eventually come check you out. You never know. But then if he starts responding after that slow play, he's getting pissed off enough, and you can hear it in his bugles. You start bugling at you. Then it gets to the point where you can start cow talking and urgently calling him over. Like, it can be cows talking to cows. It can be cows talking to calves. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a cow talking to a bull. And that's like those long, raspy, like, come here, you know, like longer, like whining to the point that I want you to come over here. Even though I have a bull here from all the raking and stuff. So he's pissed off, and now the cow is telling him to come over here. Look downwind, because here he comes, you know? That's the thing, too, is like your last spot, and you're doing all this calling, and the wind's dropping down around. He's down there. You better bet he's going to circle around and come right up there. So stop calling here and move to that point and look downwind. I always have a shot downwind because that's where he's going to stop. You almost draw back and you're looking downwind. He comes right into that downwind path. And he's going to be like, and you're like, zoom.
Yeah. It's like the hey there call.
Okay.
When
hey there. Okay.
When they're moving away from you, it's kind of your Hail Mary.
Okay.
Your E's not your mouth. Just, hey there.
What does that sound like in an elk?
Oh no, it's literally hey there. That's like you're saying those words
through a reed.
Nope, just saying them like the elk is moving. It's about to go behind some brush, and you're losing
get him
it.
To stop.
Just get him to stop. Just hey there.
Yeah. Hey there.
I mean, you can do whatever. Put in whatever.
Hey, Bucky.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say to whitetail.
Like whoop whoop.
Yeah.
Probably.
I always try to do a shitty. I end up doing a shitty. I try to do a good cow sound. Meow. Or something like that. Like, drawn back. If I have a reed in my mouth, it's so hard, and I'm drawn back, and if I have a reed, it's like, it doesn't sound like
exactly.
But it doesn't need to sound like much. Yeah, it can just be like
any noise.
Hey there.
Or maybe do it quietly. Maybe that'll get them.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the ASMR portion. Hey there.
Yeah. Now we're just whispering on our podcast.
Just talking about killing animals.
We better be quiet.
That is actually one of my favorite parts about hunting. It's just everything is so much funnier when you're whispering.
Yeah.
You know, like you're
it's like as long as someone's voice doesn't carry crazily, you don't have to whisper.
Yeah.
Like if we just talk like this and, we're just talking here in the woods and there's elk 100 yards over there, they're not going to hear you. But if you're like, there's elk over there.
Hey there. Yeah.
Hey there.
I think it's probably, I get it more with hunting with my dad. We'll just like rub each other the wrong way at some point in the day. And he says something not that loud. I'm like, oh my God, you're screaming right now. Like, shut up. They're right there.
They're right there 500 yards away. They're going to hear us. But in some spots, and if it's super quiet, they could hear talking. Right. If it's bouncing off, and like it depends on the acoustics of the area, for sure. But if you're in a forest or something, they can't. I don't think
snow on the ground that just kills everything.
Yeah, I don't think elk. I mean, I think elk have good hearing, but I also don't think they can hear like through a forest super far.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to just know the extent of their sense. Of their senses, I should say. I feel like you always hear people. Oh, I smelled it before I saw it. I hear them all the time before I see them.
You hear them before you see them.
Yeah.
I definitely smell them,
especially
for sure.
in Colorado, everything's so dry by the end of the summer. They're cracking stuff. They're stepping on, not acorns. Maybe they're smarter than
Just
that.
cracking sticks, moving through the blowdown.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, you fired up or what?
Sorry, I'm like starting to smell elk.
Yeah, I'm like, I know the smell. I know the smell.
Yeah. What's your go-to hunting snacks?
Hunting snacks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boba.
Oh, boba
bars. Yeah, boba bars. Those little muffin-looking boba bar things are so good. Chocolate chip, peanut butter.
Very good.
Oh, I could eat like 8 in a day, and I won't even need to eat anything else.
When I moved to Mexico, I had a friend down there. I was like, "Hey, like, do you want me to bring anything, or do you miss anything?" That was all she said. Was those
just boba bars.
Boba bars. Yeah. So she can bring you anything, and you want like a granola bar, pretty much. But they are really good. Yeah.
And the stinger. Cookies.
Like the stroopwafel.
Yeah.
Ones, those are delicious.
Honey, a little sugar and some energy from those.
Last year I brought so many salty snacks. My mouth was like raw by the end. like almonds, pickles, like little pickle chips in a bag.
Okay.
And then even tuna, just so salty.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no wonder you're going through so much water.
Right. Yeah.
We were really lucky. We had a little freshwater stream coming out of the mountain, pretty close, like pretty centered where we were hunting around. So every day we'd go and just fill up, leave a bunch of water there, come back through, grab it on the way home.
Nice. That's awesome.
The only thing that I know I'm changing out this year is I'm getting a green headlamp instead of last year everything went very smoothly, but I want a green headlamp, not a red one. Because I scare the hell out of myself all the time. Everything looks so sinister with a red light.
And it's not a lot of light.
Yeah.
Like green, your eye picks up green way better than red.
Yep.
Like back when I used to coyote hunt a bunch in Wisconsin, I had a green light on my gun for night hunting because it just picked it up.
Right.
You pick it up so good. It's so much brighter than red. Yeah. Red works and animals can't see it and stuff. I think they can see green, but I don't know if they pick it up as much as white light.
Right. Yeah.
But your eye definitely picks up green.
And everything just looks like it's moving with red.
Right. So many shadows and stuff.
By the time that the sun's coming up, your eyes are like kind of done with their job. Yeah. Like, I swear I just saw a bear 10 times. Yeah. Are you bear hunting this year?
I've got a tag.
You do have a tag?
Yeah, so I've got bear, elk, and deer
good for you.
For all of September. And I don't even know how much I'm going to hunt because this job change, I'm like needing to work and...
With the roofing?
Roofing.
Okay.
Yeah, because like, I don't understand.
Snow.
Yeah, exactly.
Roofing on the snow.
Yeah, I mean, well, it doesn't snow a whole lot down here in the Front Range. We can basically put roofs on in a 3-day stint when it's 55 degrees out. No big deal. It's like every week and a half. It gets up to 50, 55 in the winter down here, it seems like.
Yeah.
So that's nice. At least until like January or February. Then it gets a little colder for longer. But, I mean... Yeah, I need to make money.
Yeah.
I need to make money so I can hunt.
These addictions somehow.
Support these addictions. Roofing's great. I have a great construction background. I love meeting all the people. Mm-hmm. I didn't really realize it'd be so much getting my own business. I kind of thought like I would get, like the company would just be getting like lots of calls and they would be like divvied out and I'd be going to all these places and doing inspections and setting up the jobs and closing deals per se. But it's not really like that. Like I literally have to get almost all my own leads, which is really tough. And I'm out there as much as possible talking to all these new people. Like I get my own leads. I got one today. like every week I get a handful of my own leads, but it's so much gas money. It's a lot of stopping at tons of different people's houses. But this last lead, it worked out so cool because he has a condo in Pagosa Springs that he Airbnbs out, that like he'll be like, he was like, oh, I can just cut out the middleman, and you know, you meet these cool people with properties all over and different things that they like to do that we have in common. Like this guy's super into bluegrass. I love bluegrass. Old VW van, and I don't know, it's just interesting. Yeah. So it's kind of cool being able to do that, but it's also stressful, and I need to figure out how I can get this company to be called as many times as possible every day.
The company not calling you directly, or they're
not many people are calling the company.
Yeah.
And I'm only out there and getting my own leads and working with those customers with a full team behind me. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, like, I don't know, it's just a weird year. Yeah. And roofing and in an area that gets a lot of hail. There's companies out there that have hundreds of salespeople
canvassing
every neighborhood. Everywhere I go, there's already been 5 roofers there.
Except I would rather have you come up to my house, you being the roofer, than like some kid in high school.
Right.
You know, like, hey,
for
like
sure.
I see a tile hanging off on the
yeah.
side.
Yeah.
Can I get somebody to come give you a quote? Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine that's an easy cost for a lot of people to cut right now and just ignore too.
For sure.
Everything's so expensive this year. It's like,
for sure.
Well, you know, it's nobody's replacing the roof until the roof is broken.
Yeah. Well,
that's not true,
if it's enough for their insurance to cover it, and they just have to pay their deductible, like. But it's stressful. Starting off, the transition is tough. But once I really get rolling, it's gonna be good.
Yeah. Your own boss.
Yeah, and I'm planning on getting my general contractor's license, and I plan within the next handful of years owning part of the company and building homes. So this is just like, in this podcast, when I'm watching it 3 years from now, I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
When I was trying to stay mentally happy and secure and not selling in like fear of like going broke or something like that. Just like, doesn't matter. I don't care if you on to the next one if you're not interested kind of attitude.
It's a good line of work to have that mindset too. You know, like there's factors to if people are going to work with you, or if they're going to need somebody to work on the roof, if they're going to need general contractor, but it's not as bad as being like, let's say a realtor or somebody selling cars, and it's like, like a bunch of layoffs just happened, a recession hit, work's gone, I just got laid off, I'm done. You can, it's kind of your own world, your own making of it.
Every day is what I make of the next day. Like, I have the power to determine each day. And if I don't put in the work, I'm not going to get anything out of it. For now, for sure. So it's kind of interesting that it's part of the reason why I resigned from the government was because I was putting in so much work, but I wasn't getting compensated for that. Like, I wasn't getting compensated like I was putting, like, if I would have built the stuff that I built for the government in a custom fab shop for a private company and then sold it to someone, I mean, it'd be triple, quadruple the amount of money for someone to buy the things that I built and fabricated and did for the government. To hire someone to do the shit that I did would be astronomical.
Yeah.
So, like...
That's actually nice to hear, because usually I hear the opposite.
Okay.
See somebody.
Yeah.
Like, well, I guess if you work for the government versus if you're contracted by the government.
Right.
But it's like, this guy is building a parking lot for a federal building. And
right.
they're going to pay him 5 times more because they don't care.
Yeah.
they just write a check.
Yeah, because it's all just funding money.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But then
I'm glad my taxes weren't, being blasted on.
Oh yeah, thanks. So yeah, you're welcome. Yeah,
Actually,
for sure.
I'm sorry. I would have rather that they were blasted on your business.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they were not blasted in my direction at all.
Those jackasses.
At all. But that's okay. You gain a lot of experience throughout life doing all that stuff, and it brings me where I'm at today, which I've been in higher places, I've been in lower places. Life ebbs and flows, and yeah, I think it's a great transition for me, especially for that, like, the amount of work I put in. I might not see it today, like say tomorrow I get a bunch of, or like 3 leads or something that will show up in 2 or 3 months from now with like $6,000 each, or or more or less. But it's like the work you do today in the roofing industry shows up down the road. So it's something I'm learning. You're in the construction field ish, right? Property management,
real estate development.
Yeah.
Which wild time to be in it.
Yeah. How's it going? Are you working?
I'm working
again?
Part-time.
Part-time?
Yep, working part-time. Still looking for a full-time role in commercial development. It's funny. I've met with a lot of developers in Denver that it's gone really well. I've had multiple meetings, and they all say the same thing, which is come back this fall. A lot of them saying come back in October, based on if the markets are better and if there's more money to be able to get projects going. A lot of that is they're thinking, the election is in November, markets don't do as well in election year. So
we were talking about that too for our industry.
I mean, it, like yesterday, stock market was crashing. It's like I have no idea how much effect that's going to have on the cost of timber, the cost of land right now. So it's like, should I be switching into something else and then ride it out for 2 years and then get back into commercial real estate? I don't know. I finished my master's in it less than a year ago, so it's not like I want to jump ship yet. But the more people you talk to, it's like there's no hiring right now, and we're not sure when it's going to come back. Denver's its own bubble. There is a little bit of safety here that there's so many people moving and so many projects have to happen. But
interesting.
Now I just need to wait till like after hunting season to go to work full time.
Sounds good. That would be good. That would be good for sure.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Changes day by day, but I'm still I've had more blue collar jobs, which is like that just sounds nice right now. Like I don't want to go back to another office
desk
gig
job
after. Yeah, exactly. So I might even just take some time and do something like full-time bartend or something.
Yeah.
Figure it out from there.
Do you have your bartending license?
No, you don't really need one in Colorado.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Huh.
Yeah.
Where should we bartend?
Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine us just like behind the bar?
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, let's just open our
high
own bar.
High-fiving. We should just open our own bar. That would be awesome.
How we're gonna decorate it?
Yeah, exactly. This table might be in there for people to sit at.
Yeah. I was sitting next to, let's see, he's the owner of Beacon. Have you been to Beacon?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, so I was sitting next to one of the owners.
The supply company?
Nope. It's like
the bar.
Bar event center.
Okay.
There's a lot more going on than I understand because I didn't know that they're having yoga and workout classes going on there. I thought it really was simply a bar. But I was talking to him yesterday, and they're opening up some other locations. He's like, you can do whatever you want in bars now, and people show up.
Nice.
It's not just like trivia night, but it's comedy shows, come drink wine and paint or this and that.
We just have Billy there all the time.
Yeah. Just have him as an attraction. The curliest hair in the world.
Just play guitar. He plays like 5 songs and then plays the same 5 songs.
Yeah. Every single time
he's awesome.
I post a video of him playing a song, I get a million responses.
Yeah.
Like, who the hell is he?
Even I commented. I was like, oh, I want to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
On your porch the other day when you guys were hanging and playing guitar.
Totally. We should do a podcast with Billy and just have him.
I invited him tonight.
Yeah.
He's got acting class.
Tuesday night acting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I'm doing a podcast with Grant. It'd be awesome if you could come, bring your guitar. Mm-hmm. And I had invited him on a while ago, and it just kept falling through.
Sure. He's fun just to goof around with. I've run into him in the neighborhood when I'm walking around, and he'll just give me updates on like his whatever's going on in his love life, which is always ridiculous. He was talking about
true.
He's talking about the types of girls that he meets in Denver and how they're just different than what he's used to in Florida.
For sure.
And I was like, yeah, but you're also meeting these girls at acting classes, at like modeling gigs.
Yeah.
And at, musicians. Like, those girls are going to be very different from every other walk of life in Denver.
Yeah, for sure.
He cracks
lots of attention. Those girls love lots of attention. And they get all of it.
And they get it, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Billy, you're going to find her.
You got this, Billy. We love you so much.
Oh, my gosh. Whenever we're taking videos of him playing, he's like, send that to me for my Hinge profile.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, when I was single, for the most part, it was always whenever we would hang out, we would take each other's Hinge profile pictures.
Oh, no. Honestly, you guys should just go hang out at Don's. It's that easy.
It's true.
Yeah. We should make a podcast for you guys, Finding Love. We'll just sit in Don's and podcast. Girls walk in and like talk to them for a bit and see what their thoughts are on. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to bring like a mobile microphone and do like the people on the streets that always do the interviews and stuff. We'll just be at Don's and do interviews.
You know that like back corner booth, like the big round one?
Yep.
That's where it's happening.
Oh,
it's our own studio.
That'd be money.
The regulars are just like, what the hell is going on?
What the hell is going on? It's like, no, we're doing a podcast at Don's.
Yeah. It's a great place to hang out. I've gone there before and played Scrabble for like hours at a time when it's like, snowy and cold out.
Yeah.
It's funny, people will come up and be like, hey, like, where are the games at? I didn't see those. It's like, oh no, we brought this from home. We're just hanging out. Yeah.
Pro status at Don's.
Or if we open our own bar, combine it.
We could call it Billy's.
Gets a microphone and then it's just a giant podcast in a bar.
Yeah. We could call our bar Billy's.
Yeah.
Right next to Don's.
Yeah.
And then we have Dan's. Dan's and Billy's.
Like 7 Dan's. Yeah. There's this bar my buddy showed me that he found at a bachelor party somewhere in Florida. It's called the Elbow Room. The world famous Elbow Room.
No way.
Have you heard of it?
We had an Elbow Room in Stevens Point where I went to college.
Okay.
It's like one of the classic dives.
They have live streams 24/7.
Okay.
It's wild. Like,
live stream. Okay.
It's always just like some trash, Florida beach trash coming in, like old dudes dancing to no music and drinking shots of rum at 2:00, and then as soon as like 9:00 comes around, 10:00, it's people getting in fights and stuff. There's all these recordings of fights at Elbow Room because it's always recorded and streamed.
Oh my god!
It's pretty funny. We put it on in the background when we were playing poker a couple months ago. This is Mikey.
Okay.
And it's hilarious. It's just like there's actually stuff always happening at this bar. It's a great TV show.
That's awesome.
You should put like a helmet cam on someone. Like if you're too drunk, we put a helmet cam on you. You don't actually leave. You just walk around and you're a third angle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That'd be awesome. No, I really like the idea actually of doing podcast at Don's.
That'd be a
if you have mobile mics, so we can just, what is it? Go to your phone or?
No, I have a recording device. So I bought it when I moved back from Mexico to Denver, and I only recorded a few episodes. I talked to every Uber driver constantly, and they have amazing stories. You like talk to a guy that just moved here from Angola, and he used to be like the minister of health or what. I mean,
sure.
Who knows, what's true and what's not. But yeah, so I bought these radios or these recorders, and then I was going to call it Lunchbox Radio, and I was just going to go around with like a lunchbox with sandwiches and Capri Suns in it. And just like, hey, like if you're interested, let's record a 20-minute episode.
Sure.
Just throw it up on a page, take a picture of them, click the picture, and listen to
and then
episode.
You got the episode.
Yeah, so I recorded like 2 or 3 and then just kind of fell off. But yeah, I've got it.
Let's sounds fun.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. That's awesome. Okay, well, cheers to future podcasts.
Cheers to future podcasts.
I've definitely got more questions for you, but I think we'll wrap this one up at this point.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. Yeah, super fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming, and I'm just as excited as you are for elk season.
Oh, yeah.
Could not wait.
Hopefully I get more than 3-4 days. I gotta scratch that itch somehow before the season's over.
Yeah, let's get out and shoot bow before season.
Yep.
The next couple weeks here.
Even how you do it, run push-ups, and I gotta get in shape.
We could do that.
Yeah.
We could do like a high heart rate bow shoot. That'd be awesome.
Sounds good.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. That's definitely not the off button. Here we go.